May 11, 1960, 7:40 p.m. San Fernando, a suburb of Buenos Aires, Argentina. Bus 203 stopped at the Garibaldi Street station. A man got off. Thin build, balding head, thick horn-rimmed glasses. An ordinary middle-aged man carrying a worn leather bag. He took the same bus at the same time every day. He walked home the same way every day. Ordinary routine, ordinary man, but he was not ordinary. His name was Ricardo Klement, an ordinary employee at the Mercedes-Benz plant in Argentina. But that was a fake name. His real name was Adolf Eichmann, Nazi SS Lieutenant Colonel, the architect of the Holocaust, the man who sent 6 million Jews to death camps. And that night, justice came for him. Adolf Eichmann was born on March 19, 1906, in Solingen, Germany. An ordinary middle-class family. His father was an accountant, his mother a housewife. Young Eichmann was nothing special. His grades were average. He never went to college. He drifted from job to job. Mining company salesman, oil company door-to-door seller. One failure after another. In 1932, opportunity came to the 26-year-old Eichmann. Know what he thought was opportunity came to him. The Nazi Party. He joined the Nazi Party in Linz, Austria. Party member number 889895. That same year, he joined the SS. Member number 45326. For him, the Nazi Party was a ladder to success. Ambition drove him more than ideology. Eichmann quickly stood out. He was assigned to the department handling Jewish affairs. He taught himself Hebrew. He studied Jewish culture and history. He even visited Palestine. His superiors were impressed. This young man is dedicated. He's an expert on the Jewish question. Promotion came fast. In 1939, he became head of the department responsible for Jewish emigration. At first, his job was to expel Jews from Germany. Forced emigration, property confiscation, deportation. But when the war started, everything changed. June 22, 1941. Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union. Operation Barbarossa. German forces swept across Eastern Europe. And millions of Jews lived there. There was nowhere left to deport them. Where would they send them? The Nazi leadership sought a new solution. January 20, 1942. Wannsee, a suburb of Berlin. A meeting was held in a mansion by a beautiful lake. The Wannsee Conference. 15 senior officials gathered. One agenda: the final solution to the Jewish question in Europe. The meeting took less than 90 minutes. Over lunch and cognac, they decided. Transport all European Jews to the east. Those fit for work will labor. The rest will be dealt with. Dealt with. That was the word they used. Adolf Eichmann wrote the minutes. He sat at the end of the table and recorded everything. And executing that decision became his mission. Eichmann was the perfect bureaucrat. He made railway timetables. Which station, what time the trains depart. How many people per freight car. How long to the destination. His desk was covered with maps and schedules. Every day he calculated numbers. How many were sent today? Was this week's quota met? When is the next transport? To him, Jews were numbers. Cargo, quantities to be processed. In 1944, Hungary was occupied by the Nazis. Eichmann went to Budapest himself. His mission: send 800,000 Hungarian Jews to Auschwitz. He worked with zeal. He transported over 10,000 people a day. In 56 days, he sent 430,000. The war was nearly over. Germany's defeat was clear, but Eichmann didn't stop until the last train headed to Auschwitz. He completed his mission. 6 million. That was the final number. 2/3 of Europe's Jews. The most systematic massacre in history. Adolf Eichmann was the logistics chief of that massacre. May 8, 1945. Nazi Germany surrendered. The war was over. But for Eichmann, the war wasn't over. His escape had just begun. He shed his SS uniform and disguised himself as a Luftwaffe soldier. He made a fake ID. Name Otto Henninger. Captured by US forces and held in a POW camp, no one recognized him. In 1946, he escaped from the camp. He lived as a farmer in a small village in northern Germany. For 4 years, he tended sheep and plowed fields. But he knew Europe wasn't safe. His name kept coming up at the Nuremberg trials. Witnesses testified, "Eichmann sent us to the camps. Eichmann gave the orders. We must find Eichmann. He made a decision. He had to leave Europe." In the early 1950s, Eichmann went to Italy. In Genoa, he obtained a new identity. A refugee passport issued by the Red Cross. Name Ricardo Klement. How was this possible? The Vatican helped. More precisely, certain factions within the Vatican helped. There was an escape route called the Ratline, a secret corridor for Nazi war criminals to flee to South America. Priests provided fake documents. The Red Cross laundered identities. The Argentine government opened its doors. Argentine President Juan Perón was sympathetic to Nazis. Thousands of Nazi war criminals headed to Argentina. Eichmann was one of them. July 14, 1950, Eichmann arrived at the port of Buenos Aires. A new life began, under the name Ricardo Klement. As an ordinary immigrant, he left 6 million deaths behind and started fresh. On the other side of the world, life in Argentina was peaceful. At first, it was hard. He didn't know the language and had no money. He drifted through various jobs. Construction worker, laundry employee, rabbit farm operator. In 1952, his wife Vera and their 3 sons came to Argentina. The family reunited. They rented a small house in suburban Buenos Aires. A house with a garden. Eichmann loved gardening. On weekends, he went on picnics with his family. He greeted his neighbors, a friendly German immigrant. That's how they knew him. In 1959, he got a job at the Mercedes-Benz plant. A stable job, a decent salary. He must have been satisfied with his new life, with erasing his past, with escaping punishment. But he didn't know one thing. Justice was looking for him. 1957, Frankfurt, Germany. Prosecutor Fritz Bauer received a letter. A letter from Argentina. The sender was Lothar Hermann, a Holocaust survivor. He was blind, having lost his sight to Nazi experiments. But his daughter Sylvia could see. Sylvia began dating a young man in Argentina, Klaus Eichmann, a young man using the name Nicholas Klement. One day, Klaus boasted to Sylvia, "My father is a great man. He did big things for Germany during the war. He solved the Jewish problem." Sylvia told her father this story. The blind old man's heart froze. He knew the name Eichmann. He knew it all too well. So he wrote a letter to the German prosecutor. Eichmann is in Argentina. Fritz Bauer received this information and fell into anguish. He knew how the German prosecution would handle this information. They would bury it. The West German government in the 1950s was full of former Nazi party members. Among the judges, among the prosecutors, among the police, they didn't want to touch the past. If they caught Eichmann, who would be next? Bauer chose a different path. He contacted the Israeli intelligence agency, Mossad. He chose justice even if it meant betraying his country. He later said, "If I give this information to the German government, it will reach Eichmann. I had to prevent that." Bauer's information was passed to Mossad chief Isser Harel. Isser Harel, the legendary head of Mossad. He was born in Russia in 1912 and immigrated to Palestine as a child. He worked in underground organizations even before Israel's founding. Small in stature, quiet in nature. But his eyes were sharp. He had heard the testimonies of Holocaust survivors. Every time he heard the name Eichmann, rage boiled within him. When he received Bauer's information, he made a decision. Catch Eichmann. Bring him to Israel. Put him on trial. Let the world see his crimes. But it wasn't easy. Argentina had no diplomatic relations with Israel. An official extradition request was impossible. Even if they requested it, Argentina would clearly refuse. In a country that served as a haven for Nazi war criminals, there was no legal method. Then there was only one illegal method. Kidnapping. Kidnapping a foreign citizen on foreign soil and taking him. International law violation. Diplomatic catastrophe. If discovered, Israel would face condemnation from the entire world. But Harel made his decision. The blood of 6 million demands it. Early 1960, Mossad began full-scale operation preparations. First, they needed confirmation. Is that man really Eichmann? Could be someone with the same name. Could be false information. Zvi Aharoni was dispatched to Argentina. He was Mossad's best interrogator and investigator. Fluent in German with extensive European experience. He arrived in Buenos Aires disguised as a businessman. Garibaldi Street in San Fernando. There was a small house. Shabby and insignificant. The house where Eichmann supposedly lived. Aharoni surveilled the house for several days, and he saw the man. A man getting off the bus. About 170 centimeters tall. Thin build. Bald with glasses. Was he Eichmann? Aharoni couldn't be sure. 15 years had passed. People change. He needed more solid evidence. Aharoni came up with an idea. Eichmann's wedding anniversary. Records showed he married on March 21, 1935. This year was the 25th anniversary. He waited near Garibaldi Street. Evening of March 21st. And he saw it. When the man returned home. In his hand was a bouquet of flowers. Flowers he never usually bought. Because today was a special day. Because it was his anniversary. Aharoni was certain. That man is Eichmann. He reported to headquarters. Target confirmed. Request operation approval. Isser Harel made his decision. There was no operation name. Just catch him. That was all. April 1960. Mossad agents arrived in Argentina one after another. About 30 men, each on different flights, with passports from different countries. On different dates. They scattered throughout Buenos Aires. Hotels, boarding houses, rental apartments. They didn't meet each other. They didn't acknowledge each other. For operational security, if one was arrested, the others wouldn't know. That was the principle. The operation team leader was Rafi Eaton. He was already a legend. In 1947, during British rule, he bombed the British Army headquarters in Jordan. Cold and meticulous, the arrest leader was Peter Malkin. He was an expert in disguise and impersonation. And he had a personal reason. His sister and nephews died in the Holocaust. On Eichmann's trains. This operation was more than a mission to him. May 1st, Argentina's 150th independence anniversary celebration was held. Delegations came from around the world. Israel also sent a delegation. An official delegation led by Deputy Foreign Minister Abba Eban. And with them, an El Al special flight arrived in Buenos Aires. This was the key. This plane would carry Eichmann to Israel. The plane would arrive on May 11th and depart on May 20th. 9 days. Everything had to be finished within those 9 days. Kidnap Eichmann, hide him, put him on the plane, escape. If off by even 1 day, everything would be over. Once the plane left, there would be no chance. May 11th, D-Day. The Mossad team made final checks. 3 vehicles, each with its assigned role. One would stop in front of the target and open the hood. Pretending to have broken down. One would wait behind and block the exit route. One would stand by a short distance away for any emergency. The safe house was also prepared. A mansion in a location away from the city. Disguised as not belonging to the Israeli government. They planned to hold Eichmann here for 9 days. 4 p.m. Team members departed. To their positions. Garibaldi Street, San Fernando. Bus 203 stop. They waited. Eichmann left work at the same time every day. Taking the bus from the factory. Getting off at the stop at 7:40 p.m. Walking home. About a 5-minute walk. A dark street. A place with few streetlights. Perfect conditions. But that day, the bus was late. 7:40 p.m. The bus didn't come. 7:50. Still nothing. The agent's tension mounted. Did something happen? Did he notice? Did he take a different route today? Rafi Eaton was anxious. But he waited calmly. 8:05 p.m. The bus came. The door opened. A man got off. That man, Eichmann. Peter Malkin got out of the car. He walked slowly toward Eichmann. His heart pounded wildly. His hands shook. But he pretended to be calm. Eichmann approached. From the bus stop toward home. Malkin stood in front of him. And said in Spanish, "Just a moment, sir." "Un momentito, señor." Eichmann stopped. He looked at Malkin with a puzzled expression. In that moment, Malkin grabbed him. Other agents rushed in. Eichmann screamed, "Help me," but his mouth was immediately covered. He was shoved into the car. Seconds. Everything happened in seconds. The car sped off. The street became quiet again. No one noticed what had happened. The car headed to the outskirts of Buenos Aires. About an hour's drive. Eichmann couldn't move in the back seat. Agents held him down. He asked, Who are you? What do you want? Money? I don't have money. No one answered. The car arrived at the safe house. A mansion surrounded by high walls. Eichmann was taken to the basement. There was a bed, a chair, a table, no windows. He was made to sit on the bed. Agents surrounded him. One stepped forward. It was Svi Aharoni. He spoke in German. What is your name? Ricardo Klement. Your real name? Eichmann was silent. I'll ask again. What is your name? Long silence. And then he said, I am Adolf Eichmann. A confession. He could have denied it. He could have kept lying. But he admitted it. Why? Perhaps he knew. There was no escape anymore. It was over. The agents told him, we are Israeli security services. You are under arrest. We are taking you to Israel. Before the world. In court. To reveal your crimes. Eichmann looked puzzled, as if he couldn't believe they weren't going to kill him. 9 days at the safe house began. Agents took turns watching Eichmann. 24 hours. They never took their eyes off him. He might harm himself. He might attempt to escape. At first, Eichmann was silent. But as time passed, he opened up. He told his story, his childhood, joining the Nazi party, his wartime duties. He spoke as if dictating his autobiography. Calmly, without emotion. The agents were shocked. This man doesn't recognize what he did as evil. It was just work, a job, orders, that was all. Peter Malkin spoke with Eichmann the most. He asked, don't you regret it? You killed 6 million people. Eichmann answered, I never killed anyone directly. I just sat at a desk and processed papers. I just made train schedules. I just followed orders. Malkin had to suppress his rage. He wanted to strangle this man right then. But he held back. The trial was necessary. The world needed to see this man's face. Hear this man's words. Know what evil looks like. May 20th approached. The day the LL plane would depart. This was the most dangerous stage. How to get Eichmann on the plane. There's security at the airport. Passport checks. Someone might notice something wrong. Mossad made a plan. Disguise Eichmann as an LL crew member. Put him in uniform. Make him pretend to be drunk. Give him drugs to make him drowsy. Then airport staff won't suspect. A colleague drank too much. Don't worry, we'll take him. Make it look like that situation. Eichmann cooperated. He even signed documents agreeing to go to Israel. Of course, it was under duress. In case of legal issues later. Night of May 20th. Buenos Aires Ezeiza International Airport. The LL special flight was waiting on the runway. A black limousine passed through the airport fence. It was a diplomatic vehicle, disguised as belonging to the Israeli delegation. Inside the car was Eichmann, wearing LL crew uniform. His eyes were glazed. From the drugs, an airport employee approached. Is he all right? The agent answered, our colleague had too much to drink at the celebration party. Don't worry, we'll put him to sleep on the plane. The employee waved with a smile. Have a good flight. Eichmann was loaded onto the plane. Just before midnight, the plane took off. The operation was a success. The flight took 22 hours. They landed in Dakar for refueling. Eichmann was still drowsy. The agents didn't relax their vigilance. It still wasn't safe, even after leaving Argentine airspace, even flying over the Atlantic. Until they landed on Israeli soil, they couldn't rest easy. Morning of May 22nd. The plane landed at Lod Airport in Israel. Isser Harel personally came to meet them. The plane door opened. Eichmann came down, hands bound. He was handed over to Israeli police. Harel immediately called the Prime Minister's office. To Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion. Operation complete. We've got Eichmann. May 23rd. Prime Minister Ben-Gurion announced in the Knesset. Members of Parliament, I inform you that Adolf Eichmann has been arrested by Israeli security services and is currently detained in Israel. He will soon stand trial. Parliament buzzed. World media exploded. Eichmann has been caught. Israel kidnapped him. How? Where? Why? The Argentine government was furious. Sovereignty violation. Diplomatic insult. They expelled the Israeli ambassador. They filed a complaint with the UN. International condemnation poured in, but Israel didn't back down. Ben-Gurion said, we have realized historical justice. The blood of 6 million compatriots demanded it. No law in the world can prevent it. Eichmann was detained in a secret facility near Jerusalem. Ugor prison, a solitary cell specially prepared for him. 24-hour surveillance. Everything was controlled to prevent suicide. Trial preparations began. The prosecution gathered thousands of pages of evidence. Nazi documents, survivor testimonies, Eichmann's own statements. Eichmann requested a lawyer, a German lawyer. Robert Servatius took his defense. Ironically, someone with experience defending Nazi war criminals at Nuremberg. The Israeli government paid his legal fees. For a fair trial, to show the world, we're not lynching him, we follow due process. April 11, 1961. Beit Ham Cultural Center in Jerusalem. The Eichmann trial began. Hundreds of journalists gathered, from 37 countries around the world. For the first time in history, a trial was broadcast live on television. A bulletproof glass booth was installed in the middle of the courtroom. Eichmann sat inside it. Black suit, thick glasses, shoulders hunched. He looked small. He looked ordinary, far from the image of a demon. Presiding Judge Moshe Landau opened the proceedings. Defendant, stand up. Eichmann stood. Are you Adolf Eichmann? Yes. 15 charges were read. Crimes against humanity, war crimes, crimes against the Jewish people. How do you plead to all charges? Eichmann said, not guilty in the sense of the indictment. The trial continued for 8 months. The prosecution called 112 witnesses. Most were Holocaust survivors. Their testimonies froze the courtroom. A woman testified, when we arrived at Auschwitz. When the train doors opened, an SS officer divided us into 2 lines. Left and right. Left went immediately to the gas chambers. Right went to labor. My mother and sister went left. I went right. That was the last time. I never saw them again. A man testified, at Treblinka camp, everyday trains arrived, carrying thousands. Within hours, they became ashes. I sorted their clothes. I categorized their shoes, children's shoes, thousands of pairs of children's shoes. Some witnesses couldn't continue speaking. Some burst into tears. Some fainted. Sobbing from the gallery never ceased. Eichmann heard all of this inside the bulletproof glass. His expression was blank. Sometimes he took notes. Sometimes he flipped through documents. Sometimes he closed his eyes. But he showed no emotion. No regret. No guilt. No fear. Nothing. He presented a consistent argument in his defense. I just followed orders. I was a small cog. Decisions came from above. I just executed them. I didn't hate Jews. There was no personal feeling. It was just work. The prosecution pressed. You sent millions to death and felt nothing? Eichmann answered. I made train schedules. Where the trains went was not my responsibility. I was a bureaucrat. Philosopher Hannah Arendt observed the trial. A Jewish German, a scholar who fled the Nazis to America. She wrote a series on the trial for The New Yorker, and presented a famous concept. The banality of evil. Eichmann was not a monster. Not a demon. He was an ordinary person. A person who didn't think. A person who followed orders. A person who only played his role within the system. That was more terrifying. Evil doesn't come from special people. It comes from the thoughtlessness of ordinary people. Anyone can become Eichmann, if you stop thinking and just follow orders. Arendt's analysis sparked controversy. Some accused her of defending Eichmann. But her point was different. If we see evil as monstrous, we feel safe. I'm not a monster, so I'm not evil. But if evil is ordinary, we must guard ourselves. I too can cooperate with evil within the system. December 15, 1961. The trial ended. The verdict was announced. Presiding Judge Moshe Landau read it. Defendant Adolf Eichmann, this court finds you guilty of crimes against humanity, guilty of war crimes, guilty of crimes against the Jewish people. On all charges, Eichmann stood expressionless. May 29, 1962. The Israeli Supreme Court rejected the appeal. The death sentence was confirmed. Eichmann requested clemency from the president. President Yitzhak Ben-Zvi refused. Night of May 31, 1962. Ramley Prison. Eichmann was led from his cell. He refused a visit from a priest. He requested half a bottle of wine for his last meal. Just before midnight, he walked to the gallows. When they tried to bind his hands, he said, "You don't need to tie my hands. I won't run." But his hands were tied according to regulations. His last words were recorded. Long live Germany. Long live Argentina. Long live Austria. I followed the discipline of war. I was loyal to the flag. Shortly after midnight, the floor opened. Eichmann's body dropped. The body was cremated. The ashes were loaded onto an Israeli naval patrol boat. The boat went out to the Mediterranean. Beyond Israeli territorial waters, the ashes were scattered at sea, so that no trace of him would remain on Jewish land. So that no trace would remain on any land. To be scattered by wind and mixed with sea. To disappear completely. The Eichmann operation is recorded as the boldest operation in Mossad history. Despite violating international law through sovereignty breach, most people supported the outcome. Because the man who killed 6 million was punished. Because justice was served. But there was something more important. The Eichmann trial brought the Holocaust to world attention. Even in the early 1960s, many people didn't know about the Holocaust. They didn't want to know. They wanted to forget. The Eichmann trial didn't allow that. Millions around the world watched the trial. They heard survivors' testimonies. They saw what evil looks like. And they remembered. This must never happen again. What happened to the agents who participated in the operation? Isser Harel led Mossad until 1963. He then retired and wrote memoirs. He died in 2003 at age 92. Rafi Eaton continued working in intelligence. He later entered politics and served as a minister. He died in 2019 at age 92. Peter Malkin moved to the United States after retirement. He wrote memoirs and gave lectures about the Eichmann operation. He died in 2005 at age 78. They are all remembered as heroes. People who risked their lives for justice. Where law couldn't reach. People who realized justice. What lessons did the Eichmann trial leave? First, time does not justify crime. Even after 15 years, even after 50 years, even after 100 years. A crime is a crime. It must be punished. Running is futile. Hiding is futile. Justice eventually comes. Second, orders are not an excuse. Eichmann insisted until the end. I just followed orders. But the court didn't accept that excuse. Humans have conscience. The ability to distinguish good from evil. If an order is evil, you must refuse it. Following orders is a choice. The responsibility for that choice is yours. Third, evil can be ordinary. We imagine evil as monstrous. But Eichmann was not a monster. He was a bureaucrat sitting at a desk processing papers. Such a person killed 6 million. Without thought, without question, as the system commanded. This is the most terrifying lesson. Even today, evil is committed around the world. Genocide, ethnic cleansing, human rights violations. Most people who carry out that evil are not monsters. They are ordinary people. People who follow orders. People who only play their role within the system. Like Eichmann. The Eichmann trial warns us. Think. Question. If an order is evil, refuse it. Don't be silent. Don't stand by. Your choice makes history. May 11, 1960. A dark street in Buenos Aires. A man got off the bus. He was walking home. An ordinary evening. An ordinary routine. But that night, justice was waiting for him. 15 years of running. 15 years of a false life. The moment when it all ended. Just a moment, sir. Un momentito, señor. That one phrase changed history. Operation Eichmann, the hunters of justice. They proved it. Evil cannot hide. Justice is never too late. The end.